So where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Yardville, New Jersey, which is where I am right now.
Oh, very nice. Going back
Yeah,
home, huh?
I've been living in New Hampshire the past 5 or so years, and I decided it was time for a change. So I've been subletting in New York City throughout the summer, and I'm about to leave on a tour tomorrow. So I'm back at my parents' house right now, packing up some of my records and stuff, and getting ready to hit the road early tomorrow morning.
Very nice, man. How do you feel about it? Are you excited?
Yeah, yeah, I haven't been on a tour since I guess uh, January of 2020, right before COVID hit. Like as COVID was hitting, basically, in February. That was the last tour I did.
Very nice. And are you ready to get back out there and get things done again?
I am. Yeah, I know that it will probably be a little different and a little more stressful at times, possibly, but um, I think it'll be good. I got one of those hand buzzers. If anyone tries to shake my hand at the merch table, I'm gonna zap them.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
I mean, you seem like a pretty laid back guy, though, man. Do you feel like you're pretty laid back?
I don't know. Someone else would have to answer that. I can't. I can't
I'll
answer
answer
that.
it. You seem pretty
Okay.
laid back. Do you get stressed out a lot?
Um, I try not to because it's not good. Who wants to be stressed out all the time?
No, no one.
But sometimes you know stuff happens. But I don't know.
It's true. Stuff does happen. Stuff's been happening forever, though.
It's true. But yeah,
So
try not to stress out on tour. It's never a good vibe, especially if you're with other people. But I'll be on this tour completely alone, just me and my car. So if I get stressed out, I'll just call up one of my friends on the phone and stress them out too. Yeah,
good. Yeah. You gotta push it onto somebody else. You're like, hey man,
yeah,
I feel like I have anxiety. Let me put some on you real quick.
yeah. That's why if you got some bad vibes, you got to spread them around.
Yeah, lessen the
Yeah,
burden on yourself. Like
right,
dole it
right.
out. Yeah. A lot of people are like positive vibes. No, it's all about negative, really dark
Mm,
stuff. Yeah.
mm. I'm obviously joking.
I am not. I am fully serious. Um do you have somebody that's like a go-to phone call that you call up? You're like, oh my gosh, I'm stressing out about this.
I call my dad pretty often because he my reminder to do this interview just popped up, so I just swipe it away. I call my dad pretty
We're already
often
on it.
because
We're ahead of schedule, man. Look at us.
perfect. I'll have
Woo.
dinner a little sooner, 10 minutes sooner now. I
I'm
call my
sorry about
dad.
that, man. I am. John was nice enough to do
It's
this
all
during supper time, and it is. I do thank you for that, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Um, I call my dad pretty often because he's retired and he's just always home watching TV, doing nothing, and he's really funny. And if I'm stressed out about something, I'll call him, and he'll make some joke about whatever I'm going through, which sometimes isn't the like. Sometimes I'm really like going through some shit, and I'm like, I need advice, and he'll just make fun of whatever I'm going through, and I'm like, I think that actually worked. Actually, this isn't that big of a deal. Um, so I'll call my dad pretty often. I got friends in California that I'll call if it's later in the night and I'm driving. I got a list of people I can call. I'll call anyone. I'll have like a open hotline. Anyone can call me and chat
Dude, that'd be
on the
good.
store.
That'd be good, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Put out the phone number and then
I'll
just have people call you.
I'll start writing my phone number on bathroom stalls all across, the Midwest on my tour. Just call to chat. I'll start a hotline.
Yeah, that's the best place to publicize stuff is in public restrooms for sure.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Everyone sees it, so
Yeah.
yeah.
But you know what? That is true though. Like I feel like I'm more drawn to pay attention to the sticker on a wall or like something that somebody wrote. Like way more. Let me just say I'll spend more time in a stall if there's something there. I'll be like, oh, what is this? Who? And then it makes me think like, who put this here? You know, like
Yeah.
at what point in time, which is an interesting thought, I think.
I did make stickers for this last album that I put out. I made these little promotional stickers, and it brought me back to my youth as a little skate rat kid putting stickers all over the town. Like I definitely went around putting stickers around Princeton, New Jersey, and hoping that no one saw me and no one I knew saw me do it. But it
Heck
was
yeah.
like it was really fun. It like brought me back to my youth, like putting stickers on things. It's so lame, but
I love it. I love I have never seen anybody put a sticker up, because you know, like you're like at a left hand turn lane,
yeah.
and you look at like the you know, like the little island um sign or whatever, usually the back of it, and it has like some sticker on it. You're like,
Mm,
who, like, when did they put this up here? When did this happen? That's what goes through my mind. And then recently I was sitting at a coffee shop, um and I saw this kid, like, just real quick. It was really smooth. It was one motion, just like peeled it and then stuck it. Like, it was like
yeah.
that. It was super quick. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, that's probably how it happens, you know?
You gotta get it like that, just real quick. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is not his first rodeo for sure with the stickers and stickering at places. But I was like, man, that was like, it was just so fluid. It was like this. It was just boom. You weren't even looking. See, that's what I'm talking about. See, people aren't looking, they're not paying attention. That's when this kid is striking. He's just boom.
See, my stickers are they're hard to peel. So I'm like doing this for like a minute, and then I look around and then I do
Well,
it.
you don't even
So
have the location. You don't even know what you're gonna put it on. The first thing is to take it off, and then you're like, okay, where is this gonna go?
yeah, I usually drive around a city and spot a few locations and then write them down and then hit them up real late at night. Yeah.
Yeah, get the address to it. It's like, oh, that's a good pull. I'm gonna put that on that.
Hmm.
Yeah. Recently, I also made stickers, and I feel weird putting them up. I put one up, and I was like, man, that was like the first sticker I ever put in a public place. So I kind of felt weird about it, but I was like, you know what? Yeah, I did it. It's me. It's my that's my thing. So we're kind of in the same boat, but I like my friends to put them up, and then they'll like show me it. I'm like, all right, that's good. I actually my brother was going on a trip. I was like, hey, please put one up there and send it to me. And he's like, oh yeah, got it. And then he just brought it back. He didn't end up sticking it on anything. I was like, man, you were gone. I'm supposed to branch out. How am I supposed to branch out with you bringing these stickers back to where we live? You know, that
Gotta
kind of
get the
bummed
word
me out.
out. Yeah, you gotta get the word out there, man.
Via
Somehow.
stickers. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm not talking about stickers anymore.
All right, that's
We're
it. On to
yeah,
stamps. What's your favorite stamp, man? You said that you were into skating as a kid in Princeton.
yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Is that is it?
Um
Yeah.
oh,
Please, I
go
didn't
ahead.
I, di- I didn't want to cut you off. I was just gonna say what kind of stickers were around. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, like, were you really into skateboarding? Like, that was like your main pastime as a youth?
Yeah, that was like my entire life from ages, 10 to 18, something like that. And then I kind of got into music when I was around 20 or something like that. And I definitely didn't skate as much in my 20s, but uh, around the time COVID hit, I started skateboarding a bunch more. And now I'm like, I got the bug again every day going to the park. And I'm really excited for this upcoming tour because I'm just Googling a bunch of different skate parks, and it's a DIY tour. I'm not playing like a lot of like proper venues, so I don't have to be there at 3 o'clock to load in and sound check. I can kind of roll up 20 minutes before I'm going to play if I want, and just line check. So I have a lot of time to spend in the cities, and I'm definitely going to go to some skate parks. So yeah, I'm super pumped. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that sounds rad, dude. You're on your own. You're skating. You're calling people. You're stickering
Hmm.
stuff up. I mean, like, what else do you want from a tour, dude? That's it.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'm gonna play music. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, if there's
Yeah.
time, if there's
Yeah.
if you have a free minute or so.
Hmm.
But do you feel like I mean, because you said you stopped skating when you're like 18, and then you started picking up music when you're about 20.
Right. Yeah,
You
around that age. I started playing music when I was like 17, 16, 17, but didn't really start playing shows until I was probably 18 or 19, something like that.
Mhm.
And I was just kind of super jaded on the skateboarding world. I kind of thought everyone in the skateboarding world was kind of a jerk. So then I entered the music world where no one is judgmental at all and everyone is super chill and doesn't talk trash about each other.
Yes,
Uh,
that's what the music world is known for, really. Especially the
yeah, yeah.
industry, the overall industry, super nice, super open for new talent, not trying to
Mhm.
like stick anybody up for any money or nothing. No, 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 no. All rights are your own. It's
Yeah,
so
yeah,
peaceful. It's very
yeah, yeah.
nice.
No,
Good group of people.
I quickly got in the music world and I was like, the music world is just as crazy as the skateboarding world. Um, but yeah, probably started playing when I was 18 or 19, something like that. And then it didn't really start touring until I was 20. I did a few really short tours, but I didn't start doing, the longer tours and out west and all that kind of stuff until I was 20.
Mhm. So I
Um,
mean, so there was an overlap of skating and music coming together for a brief period.
yeah, a little bit, but I was always embarrassed that my skateboarding friends would hear me sing and make fun of me. So I kind of stopped. I stopped hanging out with a lot of my skateboarding friends when I
Those
started
aren't your friends,
playing music.
John. I'll tell you, man.
They are. Many of my friends from skateboarding have eventually gone to a lot of my shows, and I think it was once I started playing with Woods, a lot of my skateboarding friends were like, "Oh, this is cool," because they knew Woods, because Woods had songs in like skate videos and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so then I started to gain the respect from the skateboarding world. It's so
Yeah,
lame though.
it's I mean, those two worlds do come together quite often. I mean,
Yeah,
skating and music, and I mean those things kind of go hand in hand in some aspects for sure.
definitely. I mean, I probably said this before, but I mean, skateboarding introduced me to so much music, so much art, like a bunch of amazing, like corners of, the art world that I would have never discovered as a 14-year-old kid who lived in, the suburbs of New Jersey with no older brothers or anything to show me a cool record, you know. So skateboarding showed me a lot. It really did.
Was there any older kids that were also exposing you to this kind of stuff? Like, oh, listen to this band, hear this guy's music. Da, 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 da.
No, not really. There was a group of kids that played music in a town over from me, called Ewing, New Jersey, and they had this little record label that was, them kind of burning CDRs and selling them at shows. Um, and they were a couple years older than me, and I thought they were super cool. Um, and I just knew of them from MySpace, and I started going to see their bands play. And then I met them, and they showed me a lot of really cool stuff. Like when I was, 19 and 20, they showed me like Beat Happening and the Monks and all sorts of cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, those people are important, and especially, it seems like it's always the older kids who are who show you stuff like the stuff that you eventually really get into. At least that's, I mean,
Right.
that's like the common consensus. I mean, that definitely happened in my case too. It's just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh, like check, or this is what I'm listening to. That was like my older brother was like, yeah,
Yeah.
here's this band, and that like opened up a whole world. And this guy Shay, and shout out to Shay. He was the reason why my brother got into it as well. He was older than us, still is older
Cool.
than us. Love you, Shay. And that eventually branched into this, because he showed
Usually,
me all this crazy stuff. And or
yeah. Usually, when someone is once older than you, they're always older than you.
usually,
Yeah.
usually,
Usually. Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
now I see him, and I was like, oh man, you're so old, dude. He's so old.
Yeah, I had these two buddies, Chris Yapel and Ian Everett, and they showed me a lot of really cool music. And I was in like my first bands with them basically. The very first version of the Yawns was this kid Chris Yapel's band actually. Um, he had a band called Dark Surfers, and it was his project. And then he wanted like to name his backing band. So he named it the Yawns. So the band was called Dark Surfers and the Yawns, two plural names, which is pretty funny. And so we were the Yawns and he was Dark Surfers. And then he kind of stopped playing music for a while, for a couple years, and he kind of like dropped off the face of the earth to me and a few other friends. And it was right around the time I was releasing Bit by the Fang. And I was like, I was in the Yawns. I think it's too good of a band name to not be used anymore. There was the era when it was Dark Surfers and the Yawns, and now I'm gonna kind of carry it on and have it be my backing band. And yeah, so that's actually where the name of the band comes from. Some people have asked me before, but I kind of stole it. But I told Yapes I was doing it, and he was like, whatever. And he's fine with it now, and everything. But Dark Surfers was an awesome band. It was a band that I played drums in. You can actually Google or YouTube an old music video of ours called the song. I mean, we were it's like 20 years old, so it makes sense of the time. But the song is called Planet Drunk. And it's a good song. He Yapes is a super talented songwriter, and I learned a lot about like writing pop songs from playing with him at an early age.
Yeah, that's super rad. That, I mean, like, and to think that name really stuck with you for years, yeah. And then you wanted to use it yourself. Yeah, it's all fine and dandy until this blows up, and he's like, all right, we're going to court over this, dude.
we've already talked about it, and he's like it's fine. Yeah, I told him when I was putting Bit by the Fang on, I sent him a message on Facebook or something, and it was like, just so you know, I'm thinking about doing this. And he was like, whatever. So yeah, I just steal everything basically. I'm a terrible person.
Well, that's what makes great artists, right?
Yeah. I'm like the Mike Love of the Beach Boys, unfortunately, I guess.
Oh, boy. All right. I didn't want to bring it up in this podcast, but I mean, I don't know if you listen to any other episodes, but yeah, always talking about Mike.
I'm like the Doug Yule of the Velvet Underground.
That's just keeping it going. No original members.
I will say that record,
the Squeeze one, correct?
Yeah, it's pretty sick. When I first listened to it was probably, I was like 16, and that was when I was first really getting into the Velvet Underground. And when I heard Squeeze, I was like, what the hell is this? But now listening back to it, it's just a sick 70s kind of, rock and roll record. It shouldn't be called the Velvet Underground, but
no,
it was still pretty cool.
I think that's what people have the issue with, is that it's called the Velvet Underground. Right. I think that's where the issue lies. And 16 is like the perfect age to get into Velvet Underground for sure, because like you kind of understand more of what they're talking about. I still love it now. That's like right around the time when I started listening to it as well, and a lot of friends were into it as well. We're kind of getting into it at the same time. That's always fun. It's like, hey, have you heard this? Like, yeah, I've been listening to it. Like,
I was probably around 15, 16. That's when I got deep into Velvet Underground and Syd Barrett solo records. That was like everything to me at that age.
How do you feel about listening to Pink Floyd with Syd Barrett?
I love those. I loved those records. I don't listen to that music too often anymore, but I mean, early Pink Floyd was really huge for me back in the day. I should revisit them. Maybe smoke a little weed. listen with headphones before I go to bed. Classic move.
I mean, that's what you said about skating. Oh, I'm kind of done with it, and then look at it now. It's gonna rear its head again, John. It's coming
I
for you,
know.
man.
I know.
So I mean, so you're skating, you're playing a bit of music. This is all happening in New Jersey.
No, no. Oh, you mean as a teenager?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, like that's no. I never did.
yes.
I'm not even from New Jersey, man. Where'd you even get that information from?
Oh, no, no. Yes, I grew up in this town, Yardville, New Jersey, which is a very small town, suburbs of Trenton and Princeton. And yeah, I was just only child, skateboarding, playing music, doing stupid stuff like graffiti.
Ooh, you not
Yeah,
only the stickers, but also graffiti, man.
yeah. I
Where
had a
does the
graffiti.
public vandalism end, John? I want to know.
I don't do it anymore. But I got arrested for it when I was 18, and
Oh
then
wow.
I stopped doing it.
Where'd you
Um,
get caught doing it? Where'd they get you?
in Philadelphia.
I'm
Yeah,
not gonna do it in New Jersey. I'll go down to Pennsylvania and do it though. What? Why?
that's what the cops said when they arrested me. They were like, "You come to our city and do this in our wonderful city of brotherly love." Well, I mean, I was at a skate park. It was totally. If anyone knows what FDR skate park is in Philadelphia, it's underneath of a bridge, built by skateboarders. It's not a community built park, and every square inch of it is covered in graffiti. Every square inch. And I was there 8 a.m. with a friend, and I spray painted something, and an undercover cop saw me do it and arrested me, and it was such a bummer.
You should have done
it's
that at
not. It's not.
Love, man. That's what you should have done it at.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll say I never did graffiti on things that were like nice buildings. It was always there's a place um down the railroad tracks near my house that you could kind of go under this kind of abandoned thing, and we did graffiti on that. I never vandalized like nice buildings or anything like that. But hey, that's in the past.
You fuck then. This
I'm
is
really
now.
I'm really bearing my soul in this interview. I said prior to doing this interview that I've never liked any interview I've ever done as far as my own answers. I don't know if these are any better, but I feel like I'm reading my teenage diaries to you right now.
I love to hear. Okay, so walk me through it. So you get caught 8 a.m. Why so early?
Because that's when no one else would be at the skate park. So my friend and I would go super early in the morning. So we had the whole place to ourselves. It was on like a Saturday or something.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
get locked up. What are your buddies doing?
I was just with one friend, and I mean, we both had flip phones. I think this was 2008 or 9. And but his phone was locked in my car, and I got arrested and taken away in a police car, and he was just stranded there at the skate park for 18 or 19 or something, and he had to wait for people to get to the park and try to borrow a phone, and he called his mom, who then called my mom, and I was in you know I was in a cell by myself um until 3 in the morning. So I was in a South Philadelphia prison cell for from 9 in the morning till 3 in the morning, and it was crazy. And I was vegetarian too, so they gave me a ham sandwich for lunch, and I just ate the bread.
So what were you? It was just you for a while in the cell. You're just alone there.
For a while. Yeah, I mean, for many hours, and just totally alone. They took my belt from me. They took my like
Shoelaces.
shoelaces, all like that whole procedure. When I was like, I'm 18. There was someone else in a cell across from me that I knew was in there for a violent crime, and I was pretty scared. And the whole time they were saying, you'll meet with the judge, and after you meet with the judge, then if someone can get you, you can leave. So I waited to meet with this judge, and then I get in line, and then I go in this room, and it's just a video chat like this right now with a judge. Um, and yeah, and I was charged for all this crazy stuff that I didn't even realize I was doing. I thought I was just spray painting something. Um, and the best part is that I was 18, and it was my first time trying out having just a mustache. Like
Yeah.
I shaved my beard and had just a mustache. So my mugshot, I have just a mustache. I need to find the mugshot somehow. I think there's a website you can go on and pull it up online somehow.
Oh, for
Um,
sure. Yeah, it's probably public knowledge. Yeah, you can probably just Google
yeah,
it.
yeah. So those are my years as a troubled teenager, but I was never really that bad, to be honest. I did have a lot of friends that were pretty bad kids, and I stopped hanging out with them because I was kind of a, you know, I don't know. I knew when someone was crossing the line. I never wanted to be a bad kid.
So how did you get back to the car?
Oh, good question. I don't remember.
Thank
You
you.
must have been the next day kind of thing. Yeah, there's no way we picked it up at 3 in the morning or whatever. We probably drove back the next day and I got it, I would assume. Yeah. Um,
Did your
yeah.
buddy meet you at the when you got released?
No, he ended up calling his mom and she picked him up.
Oh, so you're just solo
Yeah.
out there, man.
Yeah.
And
Oh
then
no,
but
my mom came and picked me up from prison, from the jail cell at 3 in the morning, whenever it was. It was crazy.
and what was
Yeah.
that the end of the trip, the Philly trip?
Yeah, that was the end of the Philly trip. I mean, I used to go to Philly all the time. I'm only 30 minutes from Philly, so I would go there like every weekend.
Have you gone back to that park?
Oh yeah, many times. Yeah, yeah.
Is your tag still up there, or did you
No,
finish it?
no. Like I said, it's a place where it's like made for graffiti. It's skateboarding and graffiti. So every square inch of it is covered with graffiti. It's completely painted over every week. It looks completely different. You know what I mean? It's like that type of thing.
You gotta pick your spot, man. Just get up on a weird angle so it can't be
I
taken
know.
down. Yeah.
I
Have you ever
know.
seen those people who like tag the freeway signs?
No, I've never seen anyone actually do that in real life. I always think to myself, man, how did someone get up there? And
Yeah.
I also, what I've never ever seen is um someone changing the letters to a church sign. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Those signs that like have a different quote or whatever. I never have seen anyone change those. I wonder when they do it.
the
Also,
magnets. Yeah.
there's that meme that says something about, think about how you've never really seen your neighbors bring in their groceries. Never. I've never seen that.
I've seen that maybe twice.
Oh wow,
I
you're
I've
lucky.
I know. I picked times and I saw the kid stickering the thing, I'm out there. I'm catching all these weird events. I did see one time this guy was taking down the on like the on the movie kind of heading thing. The not the marquee, but whatever. It's like, oh, blah blah blah. Tom Cruise in whatever, Vanilla Sky or whatever, like at
Right.
8. Like I saw this guy changing that one time, and he had like this magnet pole thing because it was pretty high up, so he
That's
was just
cool.
kind of taking it down. So I saw that one time, but those are like rare occurrences. That's me
Very,
keeping
very
my
rare.
eyes peeled, John. That's how I'm seeing those things.
Keep your eyes peeled. I'll keep my eyes peeled on this tour and see if I see any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You just gotta keep your ear to the streets, and you'll catch some stuff, man. I'll tell you. Did you graffiti after? Have you done
No,
any
no,
tagging after that? No, that was it.
that was it. Done. Yeah, I had to get a lawyer and everything. I had to go to court. Um, I got a lawyer and showed up, and I, I just, the vibe of my lawyer, I immediately in my head was like, oh, this is bad. I'm gonna like he's gonna do an awful job. He just kind of seemed like a mess. He was kind of like the lawyer in Arrested Development.
Yeah,
Like the guy, what's his name? Fonzie plays.
Henry Winkler. Yeah,
Yeah. It was kind of like that, and I was like, oh no, I'm done for. But it was all good. But yeah, done. Those days are behind me.
that's it. That's it. Now you're on the straight and narrow, making music
Yes.
and
Now
skating
I'm.
again. So you might be, I don't know, you might be brought back into some stuff, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
I only go to skate parks, so I don't go street skating really. So I won't get in trouble from the cops or anything.
No more defacing public property.
Right. Yeah, they
Crim-
can. If
Criminal mischief.
that's exactly, yeah, none of that trespassing. Not anymore.
So, all right, you're 20 and you're playing music. You'd already been to jail. Court is done. And then
Yeah,
so I mean, did you really?
I'm like lead belly, man. Yeah,
Yeah, you're just, I mean, oh man.
yeah.
There's gonna be a documentary on you soon, right? It's coming out. Hulu. Couldn't get Netflix, but Hulu.
I would take Hulu over Netflix any day.
Oh, really? Is that do you genuinely feel that way?
HBO Max for me right now.
All right, all right. Well, I'm a, oh, what is it? Quibi or Tubi? I
I
forgot. I
don't know.
forgot which one
I
it
don't
is.
know I don't know what word you just said.
It's a streaming service, man. It
Oh.
had but it went down the toilet. But anyways, all right, Amazon Prime Video. Then how about that? Since they own everything now,
All right. Cool. Um,
trying to cash
but
in.
yeah, what was you asked a question and then
I
I
said when
deflected it.
when you're like 20, early 20s, you're getting into music. When
Mm.
do you really feel like that started to gain some traction? When did you start really getting into it?
Probably when I joined this band Quilt, that were based out of Boston, because I had my own band um, from ages 16 to 20, and I did shows here and there locally, but no one really cared about it. It wasn't very good. And Quilt was a more established band in my opinion. They went to South by Southwest, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. So I joined Quill when I was still living in New Jersey and they were still based in Boston. So I would drive up all the time, back and forth. I was just like, going to school here, working little odd jobs, and then driving up to Boston like almost every weekend, which is crazy thinking about now. Like that's all really far to go as often as I did. And then I eventually dropped out of school and moved up to Boston, got a job in a food truck, and then started writing and recording with Quilt and touring with them. And yeah, I definitely toured, like those were my like intro years to touring. I was 20, 21. Um, and through Quilt is kind of how I ended up joining Woods, and joining Woods is how I eventually was able to release my own records on Woodsist. Um, so I would say, yeah, like probably around that age of 20, 21 of joining that band Quilt. That first Quilt record came out 10 years ago next month, which is crazy. The first record is still, it means the most to me. I'm only on like a handful of songs on the record because they did a lot of it without me. But I think that first Quilt record had some really magical moments that bring back a lot of memories. If I listen, I don't listen to it very often, but once in a while I'll listen to it, and yeah, it brings back a lot of memories. It's a really interesting record.
Does it kind of take you back into that moment in time, being that age and
Yeah,
going
and
all the way up to
I mean,
Boston?
2010. I sound so lame saying this, but the music industry and the type of bands that were around at that time, um, it was so different than today. Um, there really weren't too many bands playing music like in that style, like everyone was really obsessed with Animal Collective and the OCs, I feel like, in 2010. And there wasn't this huge singer-songwriter revival or like 60s, 70s revival. Um, it was a totally different musical landscape in that era. Um, and there weren't I mean, I'm not trying to like blow smoke up our own ass or anything, but there weren't too many bands playing that type of music at that time. But you know, yeah, when I listened to that record, I'm like, man, we were on to some cool stuff in the beginning. And happens to so many bands. You get a record deal and a producer and go into a nice studio, and the sound kind of changes over time. But that first record, I still really feel attached to, even though, like I said, I'm only on a handful of the songs because they did a lot of it with their drummer prior to me joining the band.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, you kind of like a jack of all trades within playing music, right? I mean, like you play drums, you play keys, you play guitar. What are you most comfortable behind?
Um, Keys, definitely keys. That's what I feel the most confident playing. You definitely don't want me to play lead guitar in your band, because I'll be throwing all sorts of jazz notes in there.
Make it
But
jazzy, man.
yeah, I mean, like, I'm when I say jazz notes, I mean incorrect
No,
notes.
I understood I understood what you
not
meant.
not not like diminished like chords.
Right.
But like you like yeah, I can like mess around on guitar and play rhythm guitar. But it's definitely not my forte. Definitely keys, and I've played drums in a handful of bands too. I'm not the greatest drummer in the world, but I just kind of keep things subtle and minimal, and it worked for the bands that I played in. Hand Habits, um, that era of Hand Habits, needed very minimal drumming. If it was too flashy, it would have been strange. So I could do that. And then when Meg sent me the new Hand Habits record, I listened to it, and they had like a different drummer do the sessions for it, and I listened to it and was like, oh, I can't do this. This is like crazy. I'm not a skilled enough drummer to do this, and I was like, you know what? I texted Meg and was like, I love you. You're the best. Don't feel stressed if you're thinking about like finding another drummer for this upcoming tour. It's all good. Like, I can't do this stuff, so I think you should find another drummer. And they were just like, yeah, thank you. Like, I love playing with you too, but maybe it makes sense to find, a new drummer. So maybe I'll play with them again in the future. But right now, I played in Hand Habits for I think 3 years. The first two records that I played, did all those tours for the first two records, or most of them. Um, and that was a really fun band to play drums in because I was singing a lot with Meg, and they taught me a lot about singing. And yeah, you learn so much about music depending on who you're playing music with. It's cool.
Yeah. I mean that it is always fun to play with other people in any regard. Um and when I'm able to do that, when it's like somebody else is like down, because I feel like in my circumstance it's always like I pull teeth just to get somebody to like help me out with something. It's like, hey, I have an idea for this, would you mind? And they're always like so standoffish. But when somebody's like down to play, it's such like a special thing. You're like, oh my
Right.
gosh, like this is we're doing something here, whether
Right.
it's good or bad. We're doing something, which is like, and also just always an awesome feeling. I can only imagine that's amplified when working with others in a capacity like that, or working on a record, or working on something to put out.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would know. Maybe you were in a couple bands, but yeah, I mean, it's a good feeling. That was a joke, John. I'm pulling your leg, man.
All right. I just wasn't showing any
No, it's just
emotion.
because it wasn't funny, and that's fine. I will bomb
Yeah.
on this. This is not the first time. Okay.
Have you ever done stand up before?
No, no, I would never.
Have you, I would never do it either. I went to stand up for my first time recently when I was subletting in New York over the summer, and most of them were so bad. It
Did,
was
did you go to
it
the
was.
cellar or somewhere
I
like that?
went to the Comedy Shop, which is this tiny little place. Um, and my friend Bobby from Brattleboro and my friend Joe, we went together, and Bobby was going specifically to see this one guy, and he was hilarious. The guy that we went specifically to see, he's was like amazing.
Does that guy have a
Um,
name?
don't remember Joe. I keep wanting to
Joe
say Joe.
List? Is that his name?
No, I keep wanting to say Joe Russo, but that's like some jam band drummer, I think. Joe, I don't know. Some guy named Joe.
Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci. That's who
Yeah,
was
yeah.
after. Okay,
You know
gotcha.
that guy, Joe.
Yeah, the good
Um,
Joy. Yeah, I get it.
but
I'm with
the
you.
rest of them were so bad. It was really tough to watch. And I've always heard that it takes years of being bad at it in order to be good at it. That's kind of how I played music too. My music, not that, I think my music is incredible now. I'm always trying to get better, but I listened to the music I made when I was 16, 17, 18. So bad. I'm not naturally good at anything. It takes a lot of work and practice and honing in on things to get, or teach myself um, this skill. I'm jealous of people who are just naturally good at things. Some
Yeah,
people are, you know,
yeah,
or at
and
least it seems that way.
it's for sure, definitely. You come across it's like what don't you do? You know, because it seems like you do a lot. For I mean,
Me?
no, but these people that come
Right,
across in
right,
your
right,
lives, you're like,
right.
yeah, this guy's insane. Do you feel like that you learn that aspect? I mean, because that kind of goes again hand in hand with skateboarding. It's like, all right, I need to keep on trying this until I get it. I need to keep on learning this. And I'm obviously not going to be able to ollie over the barrier the first try. It's going to take time.
Exactly. That's why skateboarding is so amazing, because it takes so much work and so many failed attempts until you get something down. And that a lot of the animations that I do, when I'm hired by someone with a specific idea, um, sometimes it doesn't, like, the ideas to work off of don't really like, um, it just doesn't like fit right away. And it takes a lot of like the classic frustrated illustrator crumpling up a paper and throwing it behind me until I finally get on that right path. Like, it takes a lot of, I set aside almost 2 days of just failed attempts before I start getting on the right path. Um, Everything takes time for me, but it's just like being persistent and following through with it.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's when
yeah,
you know it's like a good product at the end. It's like I took time. Sometimes you get like this miraculous thing. It's like, oh, that worked the first
right,
time. That's
right.
always a good feeling. But you got to remember, it's like that is a rarity.
It
Like
is it
that'll
is
ever
a
happen. But
yeah.
it's
It's
nice when it
like
does, of course.
it's a blessing. Like, you really got lucky if that's like, there are a few songs. There's a new song that I'll be playing on this tour that's on going to be on my next record that I wrote in 5 minutes, like that, and it just felt great. I was really happy with all the lyrics. It just came out of nowhere, and um, that's very rare because many of my other songs have kind of been floating around for months or years, and it just takes the right, amount of work to get them into, you know the right place. But yeah, when sometimes when you just grab that song out of thin air, that's the best.
It's crazy. That's I mean that must be a crazy feeling to be able to put it all together. I mean, there's some Bob Dylan shit, man, and you're on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is really funny. There's this
Lay it
series
on me,
on
John. I'm ready. I'm ready.
there's a series on YouTube that Vice did called The Story of, and it's like a mini documentary on different kind of one-hit wonders. There's one for Vanessa Carlton's A Thousand Miles. There's one for Baha Men, Who Let the Dogs Out. There's one for Papa Roach, Last Resort. And there's one for Cisco's Thong Song. And that one is my favorite. It's so good. I'm a big fan of any type of songwriting, especially that type of like that era of music. I think that shit is super fascinating because they interview the producers, and the producers are sampling like Wes Montgomery, like all these like sick old jazz records, and like they're sampling old jazz records and listening to them solo tracks and all that. I just thought it was super inspirational. And after I watched that episode on the Thong Song, I sat down at the piano and wrote that song in like 5 minutes. That a song that's on the next record that sounds nothing like the Thong Song, that has nothing to do with it at all, but it's actually a very sincere, like genuine. It's a sad song.
And the Thong Song wasn't, John. You didn't get that emotion.
That song didn't make me sad.
Okay, all right.
I wouldn't say that, but I thought it was super inspirational, and it like helped me write a song.
Thank you, Cisco.
Thank you, Cisco. Yeah,
Appreciate it. Much, yeah, much appreciation to that guy. Is there? Do you write songs with the intention of making the person who's listening to it feel a certain way, or are you trying to convey a message of some sort to the listener?
sometimes, yeah. This new record that I'm working on is definitely more. I put more effort into writing lyrics in this new record, and focusing on what type of chords make you feel a certain way. And I mean, sometimes I just write a ton of songs and then pick the select ones that work the best, and kind of have a proper flow to them. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really bad at talking about how and why I write songs.
I'm with you, John, and the
Yeah,
people who are
yeah,
listening are with you. We're hanging on to every word. So yes, I'm gonna answer it. You do, and you speak in that manner as well, that you're trying to convey a message, and I feel pretty good
definitely.
about it. Yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. You can do this the rest of the interview if you want.
yeah.
Also,
Okay, so John,
yeah.
this is what I was thinking. What you would
Mhm.
think about this? No, is there an album that sticks out to you that has like a nice flow through it throughout the whole album? Like, this is a great album. I'll tell you what you think.
For, if you want me to actually answer it, I don't know
Yes,
why.
please. Yes,
Maybe it's
please.
just this time of year or whatever. But Nashville Skyline,
Nashville
Bob Dylan.
Skyline. Mm.
Bob Dylan. Yeah, I don't know why. I can listen to that record 5 times in a row. All the songs are short and catchy and just flow into each other. I love that record.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I know it's not everyone's favorite Bob Dylan record, but it's one of my favorites.
All right. I respect it. I do. I do.
Yeah,
I respect your views. They're wrong, but I
thank you.
respect. Yeah, Bob Dylan is fantastic. Yeah, good. So I'll say it. It's kind of a controversial thing to say, but I think he's one of the best songwriters.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone say that
No,
before.
no,
That's
it's
so crazy.
it's a hot take, and that's
Gra-
kind of what this podcast is all about.
Groundbreaking shit
Yeah,
being said in this podcast right now.
yeah. Nobody else would say it. Nobody has the balls.
No.
But look at me. I'm here. I'm doing it. um, what made you why were you so compelled to write a song about Gons, Mark Gonzalez?
Um, well, grew up skateboarding, like I said. That was a
Oh,
name I should
really?
have
Where?
mentioned in New Jersey. Uh, we'll get
Like
to that.
Trenton or
Yeah, yeah,
suburbs?
yeah. We'll get to that. Um, Gons and Ed Templeton, two huge, you know, inspirations of mine. I recorded that song, and I really don't remember if it was probably like in the process. I thought it sounded something like the Gons would. I mean, it sounded. My first description to a friend of that song was if the Velvet Underground did the soundtrack for like a Charlie Brown cartoon. Um, and then part of me was like, oh, this also kind of sounds like something the Gons could skate to or something. I don't know.
Yeah, because he
Um,
has that clip. I want to say Video Days,
yeah,
but I
Video
could be
Days.
wrong with the
Yeah,
jazz in the
yeah.
background,
He skates. I forget. I forget if it's like Coltrane, but he skates to jazz in Video Days.
which is one of the
Um,
sickest video parts. I mean, just on. I mean, obviously because it's the Gons,
yeah,
great skater,
yeah,
but also that was the first one that I listened or that I watched. And I was like, whoa,
yeah,
like there's jazz. What there's no, I don't know, like
yeah.
hardcore stuff in it.
Yeah, it's so yeah, especially for that time, like early '90s, people were probably like, "What the hell?" Like someone skating to jazz. It was all about hardcore and all that shit. But yeah, I a common theme of cookbook is kind of giving thanks to those who have inspired me to make music and art. Um, so I named that one for the Gons, and apparently it just got to him. This guy Fletcher Johnson, who's playing guitar for me next month for a show. Um, One of his close friends has been in the skate world for the past 30 years and knows the Gons, and texted it to the Gons while they're having like a conversation, and the Gons and Mark Gonzalez just ignored it and just continued talking about whatever they were talking about before. But I was like, sick. At least I got to him.
Yeah,
He probably thinks it's so lame. If someone named the song after me, I'd be like, why would you do, like, that's lame. Don't name a song after me. But I'm not the Gons, but I can imagine someone like that who has been an inspirational person for thousands of people is like, oh, okay, cool, whatever.
yeah. I mean that is cool that I got back to him. You mentioned Ed Templeton earlier, and I actually had a weird
Mhm.
experience. It was one of the weirdest experiences I ever, going back to like catching people with their groceries outside and
Oh,
whatnot.
really?
I was in Huntington Beach just a few years ago. It was right after Christmas. It was like December 26th or 27th.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh yeah, Ed Templeton. Like I've seen him, like he's like posted pictures of him being down here, and like, in his catalog, it's he's been in Huntington for a while now. I was like, it'd be so interesting to see him just on the boardwalk one time. 2 minutes later, it's like that's fucking Ed Templeton on the
That's
boardwalk.
awesome.
And
That's
that
so
was, it
sick.
was just very odd. It was a very odd experience. I was like, hey, how are you? I was like, how was your Christmas? He's like, oh yeah, it's good. I was like,
Nice.
all right, awesome, dude, thanks. Like
That's
that
really
was
cool.
that was one of the weirdest experiences that I ever had with
I
it.
just saw Andrew Reynolds, Alyssa Steamer, and Spanky in New York City over the summer. I was riding my bike around Manhattan, and I looked at Instagram and I saw they posted something kind of in Lower Manhattan, and I was like, I need to go find them. And I went and just totally lurked around and found them, and just watched them from I got a table at a restaurant that was kind of across the street from where they were skating, and just ordered a Moscow Mule and sat and watched them like a total creeper. But they're a huge, I'm wearing a Baker hat. I love the Baker crew. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm
That
definitely, I'm definitely a Punisher for that, but whatever.
No, you're you're a good detective. That's how I look at it. You're like, yes, okay, I know the coordinates. I'm down there.
Yeah.
I'm eating a sub in the car. We got the binoculars on.
Also, the waitress, I was like, I think she could kind of tell that I was like watching them or whatever, and she kind of asked about it, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm watching these guys skateboard over here. um they're like professional skateboarders. And she was like, what are their names? And I told them, and she was like, no. And then I was like trying to get on her level. I was like, imagine if you just saw like Michael Jordan playing basketball like down the street, you'd be like, sick. I'll watch this. That's
Yeah,
kind of how I explained it.
it's a good way to
Anyways,
describe it for sure. Yeah,
yeah.
it's different though. It seems like with skateboarding, it's like this is because skaters are like it just feels like I mean they're athletes obviously. It's in the
Mhm.
Olympics. You can't
Yeah.
trash it anymore. Uh but I mean they're still just it feels like you're on kind of the same level. It's like yeah, like I look up to you but we drink the
Right.
same beer, or whatever.
Yeah. Right.
It's like we're kind of on the
It's
same
true.
on the same plane.
It's true. But so there's this guy that works at Baker Skateboards and sent me, you know, some free stuff a couple
Sent you
months
some
back.
locations of where people are just to kind of
And I messaged him because I'm in contact with him, and I was like, hey, I'm watching Andrew Reynolds and Spanky and also Steamer Skateboard. And he was like, oh man, that's awesome. You should just go up to them and say hi. They're super nice. Like, I swear, they're super nice. And I was like, no, I can't. I'm sorry. I can't do that. That's not gonna happen. And he was like, yeah, I understand that I get it. Yeah, I would just be too nervous. What would I say?
you'd say, "Hey, I like your skateboarding," or you could just be like, "Hey,
Hey, I
none
like
of
your
that here. You guys got to get out of
yeah.
here. You
I
guys
should I should I
kick him
should
out of
have
the spot."
kicked them out. That's a really good idea. Next time I'll kick them out.
So
Yeah.
it's either you got to be a dick and kick him out, or be like,
Right.
what are y'all doing? You doing some skateboarding? Like
No,
just
I like
act
the
like you
idea.
don't
I like
know.
the idea of kicking them out because no one can top that story. So I'm like, oh yeah, I met Andrew Reynolds. Well, oh yeah, well I kicked Andrew Reynolds out of a skate spot. So,
Yeah, I booted
that's
him from
cool.
this from the spot.
Yeah,
So whatever.
yeah,
I ruined
that's hilarious.
I ruined a run for him. So what?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So you did the Woods Festival going back
Hmm.
to being a part of Woods and playing in it. Was that the kind of icebreaker for a good Meccan to playing live shows?
Well, I played a couple shows a few weeks back. I did a Cutworm show in August. I did a Widow's Peak show in July. And then I booked a few shows up in Maine and Vermont for the Yawns a couple weeks ago to kind of warm up for Woodsis because we didn't want Woodsis to be our first Yawn show in 4 years or whatever. But Woodsis was super fun. I've played Woodsis many times with Woods throughout the years. I think the first year I went was 2014, the festival in 2014. Um, but this was the first time the Yawns played. And it was so much fun. I had the best weekend ever. I'm super excited for next year's. It really is like the greatest festival. The way it's curated and it's not too big when you feel overwhelmed. That's why I don't like a lot of music festivals, but too overwhelming. Um, and there's just like the perfect amount of music. It's not too much. Um, yeah, it was a great time. I had such a nice weekend, and we were super tight. Like the band felt super tight, and now I'm going on the solo tour, so it's kind of a bummer when I'm like, I just want to keep playing with the band, but just for me right now, it's not affordable to bring a band on a longer tour like this. So I'm just doing it solo, and um, hopefully I can do more full band shows in the future.
Yeah, and I mean you never really had like a set group of people that you always played with? It was always kind of people coming in and coming out.
Yeah, I mean, there's many people have been in the Yawns. Like the very first Yawn show was Meg from Hand Habits, Rob from Widow's Peak, and Kevin, who still plays in the Yawns now. Um, and then this band Easy TV was my backing band for a couple shows. And then I kind of formed a group of musicians in New Hampshire when I moved up there that were my band, and that was probably the longest steady band that I had. And after that band broke up, I took many years off. I took 4 years off, which now thinking back on it, that's such a long time to not play. And especially when you're in your 20s, 4 years is a pretty long time. Like part of me wishes that I was consistently putting out records, because I don't know how much longer I got in me. I'm in my 30s now. Once I'm in my 40s, there's no way I'm going to be making good music. So I wasted my prime years not putting music out.
You can't think like that, John. I mean, there's been plenty of people who have put out good music in their 40s. Cisco, for example. How about that? Let's start there. True. Yeah, nobody knows how old he is, but he's putting out great stuff.
That's true.
It's a fact. It's a fact, man. Do you think Andrew Reynolds thinks, "Oh, I can't land that kick flip down that stairs set"?
True. He's well into his 40s.
Yeah, he's the boss too, by the way.
He's still killing it. Killing it. Yeah.
Do you think the Guns gives a shit about how old he is? No,
that's true. Okay, you're making a decent argument right now.
That's what this podcast is built on. Decent arguments. Good. Decent arguments, cool. And one good question per and me stuttering too. That's also a big part of it as well. So John, I appreciate you sitting like that for an hour and I think like 10 minutes we've been doing this, and then you turned over that. I think it's been that long. We started.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I was trying to tap my phone to see, but I can't tell. I've only done Zoom like twice. So
let me tell you, it's past supper time. Let me tell you that.
I know,
but
it is.
John, I appreciate you coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been very fun. You've been hard to get a hold of. I'll tell you, you haven't been open to this. I had to look up other people's things. Yeah, I had to look up like where you were and come and see you. And then I was kind of like scoping you out a bit before I came up. And
I don't remember any of that, but
because I was so covert about it. And then I couldn't let people know. I talked to Sean Yeaton. He's like, "Hey, what do you do?" I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of trying to keep it low. I'm just trying to hang out, man." But anyways, it has been an absolute pleasure, and you've been very nice to come on and listen to me ramble.
Yeah, thanks.
Over an hour now, definitely.
I hope I don't regret doing this podcast.
No, you will. Yeah. Oh, for sure, you will regret it. But before that regret sets in, I like to wrap it up with some promo, so that people can stream John Andrews and the Yawns music on all streaming platforms. You're everywhere, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, awesome. And
don't buy it.
That kind of stepped on my next thing, but you can buy it. You can buy it. The newest album, Cookbook. It's great. That's where all the fixins are at woodsis.com or the Bandcamp, which is johnandrewsyawns.bandcamp.com as well. And you can find all the previous releases there too.
Hell yeah.
You seem bummed that I mentioned that.
You can buy it if you want. You can. It is something you can buy. What the hell is that? Man, someone needs to get their muffler fixed. Anyways,
it's supposed to sound like that. You are old, man. You don't understand. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I kind of know.
No, I hate that too. Get your cars fixed, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Yeah. All right, John. Thank you so much. I'm gonna stop recording this.
All right.
Thank you, dude.